And today we are thrilled to celebrate another key milestone in our journey in America, together with our valued partners. And now it is my honor to introduce Dr. Kye-Hyung Kyung, the President and CEO of Samsung Semiconductor. Dr. Kyung will share his perspective on a new chapter of our transformational journey in the United States. Please welcome Dr. Kyung to the podium.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to speak here at our new campus in Taylor, Texas. We have gathered here today with one mission in mind, creating a new large-scale cluster for leading-edge semiconductor manufacturing in America. As a leader in the global semiconductor industry, Samsung has been a continuous innovator in semiconductor technology for the last 50 years. And along that journey, we've been proud to be an integral part of Central Texas since 1996, when we first started chip manufacturing in the United States. Samsung has been proud to call Texas home for the past 28 years, and today we celebrate a new chapter of our journey. This project holds incredible importance since we are not just expanding production facilities. We are strengthening the local semiconductor ecosystem and positioning the United States as a global semiconductor manufacturing destination. Samsung will pave the way for US-made chips from design to completion. And we'll do this through partnerships with our customers and suppliers across the country. To meet the expected surge in demand from US customers for future products like AI chips, our fabs will be equipped to produce chips with cutting-edge process technologies and help bring security to the US semiconductor supply chain. Our plan is not just about investing in chips, but this is about investment in our community. We are here to stay. Thank you. For us to do so, we understand that we must continue to strive for a sustainable future. Not only are we investing in our facilities, but we are also investing in our future, which is the semiconductor talent pipeline. We are partnering with elementary schools, high schools, and colleges to create the next generation of semiconductor innovators, as well as programs that train military veterans to work in our fabs so we can ensure we have the best people running our fabs. We plan to boost local economy by creating quality jobs, including 17,000 construction jobs, and drive workforce development program for semiconductor talents. Samsung is committed to using 100% clean energy at our facilities, as well as sustainable water resource management technologies. We will boost water recycling rates in semiconductor manufacturing and purify discharged water. Our common goal of strengthening the semiconductor ecosystem to contribute to economic and national security cannot be achieved without mutual effort. Samsung has come this far with the support of the United States federal government and the state of Texas, as well as local governments and communities. We'll support and participate in the CHIPS R&D program, such as NSTC and NAPMP, to create new opportunities for the innovation of the semiconductor industry. However, for our semiconductor ecosystem to truly be successful, it is absolutely critical that our effort here to attain active support from the public sector, including more inclusive STEM education, more eligibility for investment tax credit programs, and more innovation under the CHIPS and Science Act, as well as the Texas CHIPS Act. We sincerely thank the United States administration, Congress, the Department of Commerce for the proactive support and assistance. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Texas state government, Williamson County, the city of Taylor, the city of Austin, and the local communities for their unwavering support. We would also like to thank our customers and suppliers for their continuous trust and partnership. Welcome to a new chapter in our journey here in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kyung. At Samsung, we value our partnerships across the industry, and I'm happy to share that many of our customers have sent congratulation messages to celebrate this meaningful day. Let's take a look.
Hello, Secretary Raimondo, Samsung executives, special guests, and all who are attending. It is a pleasure to celebrate the awarding of CHIPS and Science Act funding to our friends and partners at Samsung for this new fab cluster in Taylor, Texas. This is an important opportunity to strengthen the United States semiconductor ecosystem, enhance the industry's supply chain resilience, and provide innovative foundry capabilities for leading United States fabless semiconductor companies. We value our strong collaboration with Samsung Foundry, and we're excited about their production capabilities from this new cutting-edge fabs. I commend the United States government and the administration for this significant strategic initiative. I would like to personally thank Secretary Raimondo and her team for managing the CHIPS and Science Act and for the strong backing from bipartisan congressional leadership. KH and SY, I look forward to working with you and your team as you continue expanding Samsung's manufacturing capabilities in the United States. Congratulations for these new fabs and to many more to come.
Thank you all. To share more about our collaboration with the United States, John Cornyn, United States Senator, will share his kind words in a video.
Hi, I'm Texas Senator John Cornyn. Congratulations to Samsung on receiving CHIPS funding for new semiconductor investments in Taylor. And thank you to Secretary Raimondo for working with us to ensure Texas is at the forefront of the CHIPS program. Before the pandemic, most people didn't know what a semiconductor was. Fast forward, and we are now all aware of how these chips power everything from F-150s in Texas to fighter jets in the skies overseas. Samsung's investment will create high-paying jobs in Central Texas, supercharge our state's economy, and most importantly, bolster our national security. The pandemic laid bare the vulnerabilities in overseas supply chains, and that includes this critical technology. In 2020, my friend Michael McCall and I authored the CHIPS for America Act with one goal in mind: to restore chip manufacturing on U.S. soil. And then in 2022, we were able to secure $52 billion in funding to help accomplish this goal. This funding will help Samsung hire Texans, buy advanced equipment, and expand their facilities to create more made-in-America chips. I also want to commend the Texas legislature and my friend Governor Greg Abbott for their work to pass the Texas CHIPS Act last summer to double down on these efforts. Thank you all for making sure these chips are not only made in America, but made in Texas too. Congratulations again, and I hope you enjoy today's celebration.
Thank you, Senator Cornyn. Our next speaker has been a long-standing friend to Samsung and to the semiconductor industry. Please welcome Congressman Michael McCall, Chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Well, thank you, Samsung, and thank you, Madam Secretary. Welcome to Taylor, Texas. It's great to have you. Let me just say, when I was in South Korea, we went to the Samsung facility. I met with the president of South Korea, and we invited him to give a joint session of Congress. And he, from the well of Congress, said, and the largest foreign investment in the United States is from Samsung in Austin and in Taylor, Texas. And I stood up, I said, yeah! Then I realized I was the only one standing up. And then everybody else stood up after that. But this is a great day for Samsung, for Texas, and for the United States of America. I remember, I think Mayor Watson recalls, and I think Lloyd Doggett, and the Director of Science and Technology from the White House. The 1987 Semitech was a project between DARPA and 14 semiconductor companies that made Texas and Austin and now Taylor the technology hub for the United States. And Madam Secretary, I want to thank you personally. Let me tell you, this was not easy getting over the finish line. John Cornyn and I introduced it 3 years ago, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have passed this important legislation. I mean, we were in the trenches. We were in warfare, and I'll be with you, Madam Secretary, in a foxhole any day. $6 billion in grant money right here to Samsung, and a $45 billion expansion investment. You know, you introduce legislation, you don't know if it's going to work or not, but man, this is working pretty well. And the $45 billion will be research and development, packaging, and also 2 additional fab centers. From where I sit as the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, this is vitally important to our national security. The reason I introduced it was to pull supply chain out of Taiwan, which controls 90% of the advanced semiconductor manufacturing, and bring it here to the United States. And that's exactly what we are doing. We need to manufacture more semiconductor here in the United States, and the workforce can never be greater than it is right here. Between Austin Community College, Temple Community College, Texas A&M, and the University of Texas, while they fight on the football field, are joined at the hip on this expansion, on research and development packaging, and I hope, Madam Secretary, will be given due consideration for the National Semiconductor and Technology Center, not to put any pressure, but we think it's a great place to do business. So let me just say, thank all of you. This is the epicenter of the technology revolution, the likes of which we have not seen since the Manhattan Project. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman McCall. We are pleased to introduce our next speaker, Lloyd Doggett, member of the U.S. House of Representatives.
Well, congratulations to Samsung, congratulations to Taylor, and congratulations to everyone who supported the CHIPS and Science Act as a victory for all of our country. You know, it was about 30 years ago that I joined the Austin Chamber of Commerce in trying to recruit Samsung to Central Texas over some other locations they were looking at around the country. I even tried to master, when the team came up to Washington to talk with us, to master a few words of Korean. But about the only two I still can speak, and I never learned any of them very well, are two words that I understand are the same in both English and Korean: teamwork and consortium. It took a lot of teamwork to make this consortium possible. Just as we speak English with what some people say is a Southern accent, these South Koreans speak with a Southern accent too, but I found that after they got here in 1996, 1997, they learned to speak Texan rather well, and it meant more than one thing. The great success in which I participated back in 1996 was the near simultaneous construction of three $1 billion fabs in the Austin area by three different manufacturers at once. Today, of course, $1 billion is hardly a down payment on a fab, and Samsung is the only one of those companies that continued to expand its manufacturing presence in such a significant way. Over the decades, I've appreciated Samsung for its great products and its great jobs. Its impact here in Central Texas is truly far-reaching. Samsung has now invested over $18 billion, the largest direct foreign investment in United States history. Perhaps only the eclipse has brought more people to Austin. But instead of 4 kind of cloudy minutes in my part of Austin during the darkness, we're entering now a 4th decade of a brighter future because of these investments. And Williamson County has been a leader in recognizing these opportunities, that it's not just one company. And with Judge Gravel's opening of a Wilco office in Korea and the Koreans an office in Wilco, it's teamwork in any language. This means more trade and investment on both sides of the Pacific, with upstream and downstream partners and across industry sectors. This investment in a federal partnership with Samsung today means that the Austin area is not just the live music capital of the world, but it's becoming the capital capital. The CHIPS and Science Act, or CHIPS Plus Act, is providing a supercharged investment to restore domestic manufacturing, supplemented by this generous tax credit that was added to the previous CHIPS bill that Mike talked about by the House Ways and Means Committee on which I serve. And CHIPS Plus goes beyond manufacturing in seeking to build a strong and diverse STEM workforce. It's great. Temple College, Community College, will be here with UT. Secretary Raimondo has already been to Austin Community College, recognizing what a key role these community efforts play in building the workforce that will be needed for the thousands of people that will be working here and in Austin. And while manufacturing takes top priority and the science and research part has been put on pause, I join with Congressman McCall in saying to the Secretary that we hope eventually we'll be announcing some progress on chip research here. Though the United States has 75 to 80% of chip design, we only have 3% of global packaging. And we have an effort already underway with the Texas Institute for Electronics. University of Texas is invested in a public-private partnership in which Samsung is a leading participant to develop advanced packaging technology. In contrast with Silicon Valley, long ago Austin started referring to itself as Silicon Hills. Now we can say here in Taylor that we've expanded from the hills to the Silicon Fields. Both the existing Austin facility and this new Taylor facility will receive federal funds. That's why I see our state senator, Sarah Eckhart, our state representative, Cheryl Cold, and John Busey, the mayor of Austin, Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan, so many other officials I'm probably missing here that are all out because they realize how very important this is. And while the sign properly notes, as do a number around Williamson County, that we wouldn't have any of this without the leadership of President Biden and Secretary Raimondo, I would be the first to acknowledge that had it not been for Congressman McCall and Senator Cornyn overcoming the opposition of most Republicans to pass the CHIPS and Science Act, we wouldn't have this accomplishment in this event here today. That's teamwork. That's teamwork in any language, and more teamwork will help us in working together to move forward to achieve the full promise of the CHIPS and Science Act for the security of our nation and the prosperity of this region. All the best.
Thank you, Congressman Doggett. Our next speaker is an exceptional leader in science and technology. Please welcome Dr. Arati Prabhakar, Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. On behalf of President Biden, it's my great pleasure to add my congratulations to Samsung and the people of Texas for this wonderful announcement. It is wonderful to be here with all of these people who made this thing happen. And for me, I am really excited to be back in Texas. I grew up in Lubbock, which is just about 370 miles that way, which, you know, in Texas, that's what we call right next door. And, you know, when I was many decades ago, when I was doing my graduate work, the focus of my research was semiconductor materials. And back then, just coincidentally at the same time, I had an uncle who brought his young family to Lubbock, and he needed a job. And the place that he got started, his very first job, was in a semiconductor manufacturing facility in Lubbock, Texas, and that's how he took care of his young family. And all the way back, all those years ago, all of us who were involved in semiconductors in any fashion whatsoever, we knew great things were ahead for this industry. It was pretty young, but we knew big things were ahead. And just look at where we are today. Think about what semiconductors have made possible. Look at our phones and our computers. Look at what is happening with artificial intelligence. Think about the power electronics that makes EVs possible. Think about our military systems that can see farther and decide faster than anyone else's. Every single one of those capabilities is only possible because of semiconductors. So indeed, great things happened in this industry over these last few decades, but something else happened in those few decades as well, and that was not as good news, because what happened, as you all know well, is that semiconductor manufacturing that started right here in the United States, first it globalized, which is fine, but then over a period of time it got dangerously concentrated in just one part of the world, and that has enormous implications for our economy, for our national security, and that problem grew and grew and really became a quite serious issue. Now, for many years, we just admired this problem, and then in 2022, this country took action. And you've heard about it here. President Biden put his full weight behind the CHIPS and Science Act, and when Congress passed that act in July of 2022, the president signed it into law. And then his administration moved out. Now, you all have heard a lot about Secretary Raimondo. I will say to you that this woman is a force of nature. She put together a tremendous team, a bunch of whom are sitting right here. They moved out with energy, with focus, with urgency, and with great professionalism to implement the CHIPS manufacturing incentives. And at the same time, President Biden also knew that success was going to depend on more than that. And he also understood that the partnership that we build with our allies around the world was critical. And so his administration also pursued foreign direct investment from our allies and deepened ties with our close allies, particularly the Republic of Korea. And of course, that includes the visit that President Biden and the Secretary made to Samsung when they were in South Korea. So all of that together, all of that is how we put a stake in the ground and we tell the world that America cares about semiconductor manufacturing. And that commitment by America is why Samsung is growing right here in Central Texas. And, you know, today's announcement, as Mr. Kyung mentioned, many different aspects of this very rich semiconductor ecosystem that's building here. I just want to touch on two elements that I think are particularly noteworthy, in addition, of course, to the leading-edge manufacturing capabilities. One is about the commitment that Samsung is making to work with our Department of Defense and to make chips for defense. That's going to really be important to this continuing role that semiconductors play in global stability. And the second piece that I think is really important is about the advanced R&D that's going to happen, because this CHIPS and Science Act, the investments that come from this CHIPS Act, are not just about winning today, they're also about winning tomorrow. I'll finish my remarks by just saying that this announcement today is a great example of what happens when we decide to get serious. When that happens, when we build here in America, we strengthen our supply chain for these chips that feed so many different industries. We strengthen our national security and we strengthen global stability. And to make all of that happen, we create good-paying jobs that support families. These are jobs that change people's lives, and that is what it's all about. President Biden is working every single day to bring us all together so that we can make sure that America remains the land of possibilities. And here in the land of possibilities, this is how you do big things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhakar. Now, Samsung has been a proud ally of the United States for nearly 50 years. Our next distinguished guest is from the United States Department of Commerce. Please welcome Gina Raimondo, United States Secretary of Commerce.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is a fantastic day, and I couldn't be more excited for the people of Texas, for our country, and for Samsung. First and foremost, I have to begin by thanking KH and his extraordinary team here at Samsung. Thank you, KH, for your great leadership. Yes, please. Because of you and the leadership of your company deciding to invest so heavily in the United States of America, we have this. And to you and to your employees who we've met, I had the chance to meet, thank you. To the men and women back there who are building this facility, thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Stay safe. It's an outstanding achievement. And of course, we're just getting going. I also have to thank members of Congress here with us today, because without whom this really wouldn't have happened. You know, so often we hear, oh, Washington's broken, can't get things done across the aisle. I don't know. As Archie said, when we decide to get serious, great things can happen. President Biden put his back behind this. Senator Cornyn, who was with us earlier, led this in the Senate. And Mike McCall, chairman, led this in the House. And because of their leadership and the support of Congressman Doggett, we did get it done on a bipartisan basis. Huge bipartisan votes in the House and in the Senate. I just have to take a second to, give special thanks to Senator Cornyn and Chairman McCall. By the way, Mike, when you told that story that you leapt up and gave a hoot, anyone who knows Mike was not surprised by that. The guy has unbelievable passion and energy and determination, and when he decides something is good for the country in Texas, he leaps out of his seat and gets it done. I will tell you, on a personal level, I'm deeply grateful for your leadership, because after this bill passed out of the Senate and it was on its way to the House, for reasons having nothing to do with chips, but having a lot to do with what was going on in politics that day, we were draining votes in the House like you can't believe. And I called Mike with a pit in my stomach. I said, "Are you still with us?" He said, "Hell yeah, I'm with you, and I'm going to whip votes to make it happen." And you did. And you did, and it passed, and we are here today. So thank you. And to the governor, and to the governor, and to the members of the local assembly, and to the mayor, and to the judge, thank you for your local support. Having been a governor myself, I know the real work happens on the ground. We can send the money and the support from Washington, but the permitting and the hiring and all the red tape that you clear out of the way every day, thank you so much, because it's making it happen. As Archie said, as has been said, 2 years ago, I had the honor of traveling to Korea with President Biden. And it was, of course, 2 years ago before the CHIPS Act passed. And we toured Samsung's magnificent facility just outside of Seoul. And I remember getting out of the motorcade with the president. The president looked up at the facility. He said, "My God, this is amazing." He said, "This is exactly what we need in the United States of America." And in fact, in the President Biden's words, he said, quote, "That visit was emblematic of the future of cooperation and innovation that our nations can and must build together." Today, 2 years later, we're seeing that vision become a reality. And I want to tell you this facility here will be twice as big as that facility in Korea. That's unbelievable. Twice as big as what we saw there. And you're doing it at a speed that's unbelievable. 4.5 million square feet built in the last 18 months. Unbelievable, path-breaking, and we have your back to make sure you're successful every step of the way, as do your customers and suppliers who I see here in the audience. I would like to say also, obviously the big announcement today, the reason I'm here with my unbelievable, fantastic, top-notch CHIPS team, is that we're here to announce that the Commerce Department intends to provide $6.4 billion of funding, direct grant funding to Samsung from the CHIPS and Science Act so they can develop and continue to develop and expand the facility that we see behind us. As has been said, you can clap for that, $6.4 billion. Everyone in the front row on my CHIPS team had more hair and darker hair when this started, but thank you for hanging in there with me. I'm very grateful. But the proposal, the $6.5 billion that we are providing, we're not just building a fab, right? This is more than just, building a factory to build chips. It's so much more than that. This investment, as KH said, will quite literally transform Central Texas. It's going to support a comprehensive, diverse, leading-edge manufacturing ecosystem here in Central Texas. It includes 2 at-scale, state-of-the-art, leading-edge logic foundry fabs. Some of the most sophisticated chips made in the world will be made by Samsung here in Central Texas. Also, a dedicated research and development fab. Also, advanced packaging facility. As somebody said, we don't do nearly enough packaging in the United States of America, and Samsung's a leader in that area, and an expansion of Samsung's facility down the road in Austin. These investments together, blows my mind every time I read it. The first leading edge fab, the first one, is the size of 11 football fields. And they're planning to build 2. Then they're also packaging them, doing R&D, core research and development, which will support the future. As somebody said, we're not just out to make these chips for today and tomorrow. We're rebuilding an entire semiconductor ecosystem in the United States of America. And one of our biggest, best, most innovative clusters will be led right here in Central Texas by Samsung. And I know Chairman McCall mentioned and cares deeply about the national security implications, which is, of course, why we passed the bill and why it was bipartisan. But I got to say, the best part about it is all the jobs we're creating for Americans in the process. Good-paying, family-supporting jobs. Just this operation here will create over 17,000 construction jobs for you folks out there in the yellow vests. Almost 5,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, many of which don't require a college degree, but will require the training that will happen in the facility built right over there, and tens upon tens of thousands of good-paying indirect jobs right here in Texas. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So I have to say, I do count myself as among the luckiest people in the world. I have a great honor of working with companies like Samsung, my own team, local elected officials. But my boss, President Biden, had a vision. He had a vision, and that vision is becoming a reality. He's committed to manufacturing, revitalizing advanced manufacturing in America, and that's what this is about. In Central Texas, we will, once again, lead the world in chip design, chip manufacturing, chip packaging, and chip R&D, and lead the whole world behind that vision. So, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, and thank you for your commitment.
Thank you so much, Secretary Raimondo. Now, if I could have you all approach the front of the stage for a photo. Okay, everyone, please look at our photographer on the media riser at the very back. Okay, 1, 2, 3, chits. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you very much. Now, all other media and photographers may go ahead and take photos. There you go. Korean fighting. Very good. Thank you so much for your time today. You may leave the stage now at your convenience. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's give everyone another round of applause as we conclude our ceremony today. On behalf of Samsung, I would like to thank you all again for taking the time to join us today as we celebrate the U.S. CHIPS investment